Mic check, mic check. Is this thing on? Am I clicked in to check in with you? All right, I'm here. You're there, down there on the field. Preseason game number 4, last one before we get into the real deal. Okay, we've got a few audibles and checkdowns to deal with here. Got to get to a 53-man roster, and some personnel things are going on here. We've got to come to a few decisions. Toomer had to be dropped. Kansas City, nothing left in the gas tank. Got some problems at quarterback there. Shouldn't be too worried about Castle, because if he's out, you got Thigpen and Croyle there. Hopefully Larry Johnson can regain his form from a couple of years ago when he was doing his thing. They have a couple of young wideouts there in Kansas City who should emerge into their own. But we'll see how that plays out. More about personnel decisions here before we get to the first game of the season. Pac-Man Jones, CFL, they don't want him. Nobody wants him. I thought he probably would go to UFL if that was the case. Oh, man, talking about this and that. I have a team that's looking at me in Canada and then even give them the wrong designation for the CFL, the JFL, UFL. What did you call him? See, you got to respect the leagues here. He doesn't respect the game. 26 years old. Had everything. Titans. Then with the Cowboys. Reality show. Blew it all away. Wasted talent. Okay, speaking of more personnel decisions for you, kid. Andre Smith, the first rounder, held out 2 days after practice, 3 days after practice, breaks a foot. I can't say anything else about rookies coming in, holding out, wanting more money, and you got to come in and get your reps, because this is the NFL, the not-for-long league if you keep playing around. It's a message to you, Crabtree. Do what you got to do. Either, what are you going to do? Hey, get in, get the reps. If not, you're going to get smashed. Oh, and speaking of smashed, I remember I made another statement in one of the videos addressing that they used to say you got jacked up. If I'm correct, the word that was out or what was reported, or the reason they cut that out because it was a bad influence on the youngsters, a la probably high school and college. Wanting to think that they can do that really hard, vicious hit when it all naturally comes in the flow of the game. So they had to cut out the "you got jacked up" segment out of Countdown in fear of influencing the youth. Even though it comes naturally in the flow of the game, it just happens to get caught on camera and you blow it up. You've been to games when you've seen from every level on up a jacked up hit. But okay, let's keep this going here. Jacked up hits. Speaking of jacked up hits, the NFL Players Association is under investigation by the federal government. Oh man, collusion, lockout, 2010, no football, shudder to think. Okay, let's worry about this preseason game number 4 and worry about the collusion between the union and the owners. Okay, and a rumor has it here that DeMaurice Smith has an end with President Barack Obama, and we don't need the federal government getting involved with the NFL because they're the only sport that gets it right across the board. Need I say any more? Okay, more personnel things. This is getting rough here. O.C. Urimenura runs out, upset. Understandably, it gets pretty heated in there. You know, kind of a sensitive guy. Came back right away. It's not like he took a day or two later. Then he would have been really AWOL. And his teammates had some fun with him. Had put up some posters around the training facility with his whole picture, you know, wanted $1 million. And they put dead or alive. I think that's a good way to have some fun with it. Okay, he's back in the fold, and we shouldn't have any problems with that. Speaking of problems, I don't want Brandon Smith. Brandon Smith is a head case. Whatever team he goes to, oh man, go see the priest for last rites. Okay? It's not like, he's not like Randy Moss, like how they had given Randy Moss the thing, the label, the tag. Look, he's a bad guy. Went to New England, set a single season record for touchdown catches. Come on now. Brandon Marshall coming off that damn labrum hip surgery, and he's got a problem, and he was they caught him on tape being a slacker in practice. You're not in football shape. You've been slacking. So why would I trade for you and wait for you to be in the football shape by week 4? Too late. You got to come out the box. Got to come out the box smoking, because 9 wins will not get your team into the playoffs. Got to be a 10-win season. All right. settle down at quarterback. I wish it could happen in Cleveland with Eric Mangini. Look, you got to have the correct quarterback, or at least the known quarterback for your team when you come out the box. What's with all this confusion? This is the preseason game number 4. I've got to come to a decision because the next set of practices, we're going to be implementing the entire game plan. And if I'm trying to confuse the other team, then wouldn't you think that these guys are confused, not knowing who really is the starting quarterback? Then you're on the, if you talk, you get exile type of deal. Oh, man, the Browns, you are in for it. I mean, it was a pretty rough go for Bill Belichick when he had his tour duty in Cleveland. Okay, Eli, we're going to have to see about, I don't know about getting you a bona fide #1 wide receiver. We have a pretty good stable of wideouts here. The running game is outstanding. It all starts with the offensive line. If all of those teams out there have a solid offensive line and can get your ground game going, a la like how the Giants and several other teams in the NFC East do, then you have a pretty good chance of getting to a 10-win plateau, provided that the other side of the ball can be matched like that. And only a few teams do, but a lot of teams in the NFC do it that way. I was going to say does, but I'd hate to have the English teacher come up in here and start, with all that. Oh, no, I can't have that. Okay, I'm going to leave you with this rookie at the starting helm here for the New York Jets. Not since Broadway Joe has there been such excitement here in New York City. I know the wideouts are not what exactly we call, the tandem of Fitzgerald and Bolden out there in the West, but Stuckey, Clowney, and Keller and Leon Washington can be put in several different places. He doesn't have to line up in the backfield and take 25, 30 straight snaps. Come on, we can make him versatile, a la Roger Craig. Okay, so with that, kid, the defense is pretty staunch. I got 3 guys that came over for me from Baltimore on the defensive line, in the linebacker and the secondary, and we're going to have some swagger. Let's take game 1.
Now who be hitting the best? Cold kicking in front, some tight deaf mic.